Some lurid new details about federal drug enforcement agents accused of spending your tax dollars on sex parties, hooking up with prostitutes who were paid with drug money as well. A House committee held an explosive hearing today, scolding the DEA chief and demanding to know why no one, yes, no one has been fired. Let's go to our Justice correspondent, Pamela Brown. She's got details. Pamela?
Well, it was a very fiery hearing, Wolf. Today, members of Congress ripped into the DEA chief for not doing more after humiliating allegations surfaced in a recent Inspector General report, including revelations of more than a dozen sex parties sponsored by drug cartels, according to one Congress member.
It's embarrassing that we have to talk about this.
The Drug Enforcement Administration's chief under fire. Michelle Leonhardt's agents accused of working with the international drug dealers they're supposed to be going after to get hooked up with prostitutes.
You're protecting the people who solicited prostitutes, who had 15 to 20 sex parties, went through this whole operation, used taxpayer money to do it, and I believe compromised the national security.
Stunning revelations in an Inspector General report saying police in an unidentified foreign country claim they arranged sex parties for DEA agents, including senior supervisors, at the agents' U.S. government-paid apartments. 3 agents were also given money, expensive gifts, and weapons from drug cartel members, according to the report.
A DEA agent in Bogota was accused of physically assaulting a prostitute over a payment dispute. A security guard witnessed this agent throwing a glass and hitting the woman. And you know what the punishment for this person was? 14 days unpaid leave. Go on vacation for 2 weeks.
I'm very disappointed in that.
You're the administrator. It's an embarrassment that you don't fire that person. It's an embarrassment that you don't revoke his security clearance.
And none of the DEA agents was fired, something a noticeably uncomfortable Leonhardt struggled to explain.
I am not in the disciplinary process. I am very disappointed.
You have to work with agents over whom you can't discipline and have no control, and you have no control over the security clearance. What the hell do you get to do?
And Congress members also raised questions today about whether the DEA needs a new leader. Wolf.
All right, thanks very much for that report. Pamela Brown reporting for us. Joining us now is the chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Congressman Jason Chaffetz, joining us from Capitol Hill, beautiful statuary hall right there. Congressman, what's going on here? Why hasn't the DEA fired anyone?
They have a deep cultural problem. We did not buy the idea that the DEA administrator has done enough. You know, she's either the deputy or the acting or the actual administrator of the DEA for more than a decade now, and we still continue to have these problems. It's happened lots of times. Nobody was fired, which I have a fundamental problem with, but they didn't even lose their security clearances. I mean, these people went on either between 2 and 14 days of paid leave. That sounds more like a vacation rather than a severe consequence for sexual misconduct and sexual harassment.
Why wouldn't they lose their security clearance, at least in the short term, after something like this?
We went after it for more than 3.5 hours, and I don't think she ever satisfied the committee or gave us answers that meet any sort of standard of decency. I mean, these are sexual assaults. At one point, you had a DEA agent throwing a glass at a woman that was there as a prostitute, and they were arguing over the money that they were supposed to pay. And this is witnessed by a security person, and the person gets 14 days unpaid leave. It's just unbelievable, but it's happened time and again, and they haven't dealt with it.
Basically, from what I heard, she was suggesting that there was no regulation there that will allow her, forget about firing someone, even to take some punitive measures. So she didn't have that authority. Is that what you heard as well?
Well, we may need to have some changes to the law. I think that she made a good point of that, and members pointed that out. But how can she not lose her security clearance? Even the Attorney General, Eric Holder, on Friday had to go out and send another email out to all of the Department of Justice saying you cannot engage in prostitution, even if it's legal. But you have compromises in terms of physical security. You have guns, you have weapons, you have computers, you have contact with foreign nationals. And for her to say, well, we got to just let a board look at that, that's not good enough, Wolf. You got to fire these people.
there seems to be a culture, a problem there, because the report also says these parties happened as early as 2001. That was during President Bush's administration. You heard that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it happened over a couple different presidents. The problem is the administrator has been in that position for more than a decade, and it's not changing. Only after Cartagena did somebody get fired, but we had an incident that happened in the 2009-2010 time frame, and again, the guy got 14 days unpaid leave. It's embarrassing. It's a national security consequence. There are great ramifications to national security here. And who wants to serve with these people who make those kind of judgments? They're still working at the DEA.
Should the DEA administrator be fired?
I believe I've come to that conclusion that I have, A, no confidence in her, and that if this administration truly wants to hold people accountable, they're going to have to fire her or she's going to have to step down. They have not changed that culture in more than a decade. There has been this promiscuity that has been tolerated. These were poor judgments, as they were labeled, as opposed to serious sexual harassment or sexual misconduct. And I'm to the point where I think she should be fired or she should resign. I don't have the confidence in her, and I don't think the committee does as a whole either.